Welcome to Allies or Enemies. I'm Jess.
And I am Sean, and today we are talking about Essen. We're going to be looking ahead at a bunch of the games that caught our eye that are coming out, or at least going to be playable at Essen Spiel 2025.
And we are going to be there, so if you see us, please do say hi. And if you haven't been before, it's huge. It's the largest board game convention in the world. And so we looked at the preview list, and it had over 1,200 games on there. And so we picked some that caught our eye, but we haven't played these. We don't know a lot about them, and there won't be any pictures that we can show you.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing this at super speed, not having played these games. But this is just stuff that we quickly saw, and that list was on BGG. And there's a whole bunch of lists on BGG, but there's kind of one big master list that we went off of. And so we're going to go through these at super speed. We've also got notebooks, so we're going to be looking down at those. There's a lot of caveats before this video, but we're going to talk about 40 games real fast, so let's get to it.
My first game is Recall, and I was really excited when I heard about this because it takes place in the same world as the game Revive, and it's by the same designers, and I really liked Revive. And Recall has like 14 different factions that you can play as, and so this will be one I think I will want to try first.
These aren't in order, but this one is kind of in order. My number one I'm most excited about is Coming of Age, and this is by Danny Garcia. And Danny Garcia has just been on a crazy run of like super solid games. But this one is about you are an adolescent and you're coming of age. You're just like figuring stuff out. I love that theme. I'm so interested in this.
My next one is Covenant. And this is published by Devere, and I am generally keen to check out the Devere games each Essen. And your dwarven tribes mining into a mountain, building buildings, and it's the same designer as Batoku.
My next one is Unmatched Adventures, the new Unmatched Adventures, and I have said I'm not going to buy any of the Unmatched that is licensed properties. I'm only going to get the other stuff. But boy, am I ever breaking that rule, because they are putting out Turtles, and there is almost no IP I am more excited about than Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So this is right near the top of my list.
My next one is Echoes of Time, and I think there are two things that drew me into it. First of all, one of the designers is Simone Luciani, who I really like, and the art looks really interesting. And it's a card game with like different faction cards that you're recruiting, and there's a time element before those cards are fully effective.
My next one is Emberheart, and this is by Mindclash, which is one of my favorite publishing studios. Mindclash basically always put out solid games. And this one is about dragons, which are kind of like the dinosaurs of the sea. So this is about dragons that are, you're protecting them from poachers, but one of the designers is Adam from Wales, and that is one of the best YouTube channels out there about designing, so I'm really interested in this one.
My next one is Incubo, and it was really the theme that got me interested in this because it is a cooperative deck building game for 2 players where one of you plays as a little boy, the other one plays as his cat, and you're fighting your nightmares to save your sister.
That sounds fantastic. My next one is Shall We Dance? And this is the new game by Sashi and Sashi. I basically didn't need to know anything else about it. I was already on board from that. Bus and Stop from them was my favorite game of last year's Essen. So I've got to check out whatever this is.
My next one is the Vonyik puzzle. I'm not too sure how to say that. It's by Danny Garcia, who you already talked about, so already I'm interested. And it's based on like this real thing of the Vonyik manuscript. And you're trying to solve clues, and as you solve clues, that information becomes available to everybody else, but it's a competitive game.
My next one is Pulitzer. So you are a journalist in the 1970s. So this is right in the heart of Watergate and Vietnam, when being a journalist was really something. And it has got some fantastic components. You've got this little board that you're putting stuff on, and you've got actual pins and strings that you're connecting it up. So that captured me right away.
Yeah, once I saw the strings, I was like, yeah, I really want to try this. My next one is Sinister Institute. And this is a Phil Walker Harding game who we really like. He's done Barron Park and Cities and Summer Camp. And it is a cooperative game where you're like trying to fight a bad sorcerer.
My next one is World Order, and I actually did get a sneak peek at this last year, but I didn't really get a chance to play it. I think we got to play like a round, and I'm really keen to see more of this game because it's by the crew Hegemonic, who put out Hegemony, which is such a terrific, interesting game. So this looks really cool.
I'm going to talk about two games now because they're both by the same designer, and it's why I picked these games. And so the designer is Thomas Hollick, who designed SETI, which I really liked. And so the first game is Aquaria, where you're building an aquarium. And I think it's like a medium weight game. It takes about 45 minutes per player. And the other one seems more of a lightweight game, and it's Pondscape. And it's like one of those grid tableau builders where you're building a pond and attracting different insects.
Well, speaking of ponds, my next game is Otter, and Otter is adorable. I hadn't heard about it until I looked at this list, but I Otter have, because Otter is this game where you've got 3 cards. 2 are the top and the bottom of the otter, and the middle is the thing that it's adorably holding. I don't know anything else, but that's enough.
My next one is a game that we actually have already played. We got a sneak preview, and that is Gatsby. If we hadn't played it, it would be on our most anticipated list. And it's this great 2-player specific game with one of the designers being Bruno Cathala that takes place in the roaring 1920s and like very strategic.
My next one is Fea's Swamp, and this is from one of the designers of Terra Mystica and Gaia Project, and has a little bit of a Terra Mystica look to it, and apparently it's also a remake of one of his older games, Kevai, I think it's called. I don't know anything else about it other than that, but Gaia Project, one of my all-time favorite games, so I'm interested in this one.
My next one is called Last Lantern, and this is a cooperative game where you're like trying to find your way out of the fog, but it's a cooperative polyomino game with a little bit of deck building, and I like both of those mechanics.
My next one's another one that we have had a chance to play already, but I definitely want to tell people about it because you should go check it out, and that is Kingdom Crossing. And this is a game about the 7 Bridges puzzle, which I didn't know about before playing this, but it's got super adorable animals. It's got a hot air balloon. It's really cool.
My next one is appropriate for October, and that is Tricky Treats. And so you have to dress kids into costumes so they can get treats and play tricks. And it has these great transparent cards that are the costumes that you're laying on top of the people.
And we kind of had to like figure out who was going to talk about what. That was one of the ones we were fighting over. The other one we were fighting over is Severton.
Yeah, it looks good.
And Severton has this art that is kind of like Hardy Boys Nancy Drew style. And you're like, I think solving mysteries. It's a co-op game in this kind of like spooky-ish city, but spooky in that Hardy Boys kind of way. This one looks really cool. And it's by Vlada Chivitel, who just is all over the map with his game design. So I'm always interested in what he has to do.
Yeah, you never know what to expect. My next one is called Ghost Bumpers, and this is by Marcus and Inca Brand. And we really like Villagers, which they did. And this looks like a trick-taking game. And there's something about you don't want to win too many tricks or play too many high cards, or else you'll get scared by the monsters.
My next one's also a trick-taking game that also has a really interesting theme like that, and it is called Tax the Rich. And that title grabbed me right away. But this has got an interesting twist where if you don't have any high cards, your low cards like band together and have a revolution. I don't know exactly what that means, but it sounds cool.
Next, I want to talk about 3 games because they're all part of the T series of games. So first is The Buy, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and it's designed by David Turksey, who's a designer I really like. And Daniel Ticini said that this does fall within the T series even though he wasn't part of the design, and it's about rebuilding Thebes. The next game is Tiaxia, and we do have this already. We got a bit of a preview, and it's a really interesting game with Daniel Ticini as one of the designers, and you have these nomads that are coming in attacking your city. And then the final one is Theocrates. Croatia. And again, Ticini is one of the designers here. And Andrew Bosley has done the art. And you're playing as these different deities, helping to influence your civilizations that you want to worship you.
All right, so since you clumped a whole bunch together, I'm going to clump a couple together just so we stay on pace. So the first one I'm going to talk about here is 12 Rivers. And this is, I believe, a remake of an older game, but it's wildly different because now you have got marbles and you're dropping marbles down this thing and there's different rivers that they fall down. You're blocking off other people's marbles. I just want a reason to play with marbles. There's also Bohemians. Yes, Bohemians, and this is a card tableau building game where you're Bohemians and you're kind of figuring your stuff out in the world of Bohemia and you're artists of different types. This kind of feels like it could be like the second part of Coming of Age. You like figure out who you are as an adolescent, then you go off to France and do all this other stuff. And then I also want to talk about actually kind of an expansion because I'm interested in nature. And nature, just like the idea of nature, but also the board game. And nature's a game that a lot of people have been talking about. And this is a game about fitting animals into habitats. But I'm specifically interested in the dinosaur expansion to nature because it's got dinosaurs and they're drawn by Vincent Dutrait. Vincent Dutrait dinosaurs? Sign me way up for that.
But you probably will need the base game to play the expansion. The next one on my list is A Wild Venture, and this one looks adorable. It's a 2-player tactical game where you are collecting gear and collecting adventurers and then going out on an adventure.
And I just talked about dinosaurs, but another game about dinosaurs is Fossilium. And this is about, I think it's like a kind of a tile placement game where you've got a museum, you're putting tiles in. But from the pictures, some of those tiles are 3D, including a 3D dinosaur skeleton. So I don't need to know much more about it than that. I will definitely go find that for a play.
My next one is called The Peak Team, and this is designed by Scott Elms, and it is a cooperative game where you're trying to protect the wildlife.
My next one is Natera, and I don't think that I'm saying that correctly, but this is about these weird kind of hybrid animals that are rebuilding the world after humans mess it up. And I'm really interested in this because I am a huge fan of Kipo in the Age of the Wonder Beasts, and this just reminds me a little bit of that.
Yeah, it describes it as sentient animals, so it definitely sounds a little bit like it. My next one is Wispwood, and I had a sneak peek of this at UK Games Expo, and it's published by CGE, and it's a tile placement game with like different wisps who want different conditions that you're building out in your like tableau.
My next one is the one that has the most thumbs up on the BGG list, and that is Horloge. And I hadn't heard anything about this game before, but if that many people are interested in it, it's probably worth a look. And this is about building this clock that was made in like the 14th or 15th century in Prague, and it's this astrological clock, and the board looks really beautiful, and just a lot of people are into it, so I'm definitely going to take a peek.
My next one is Movie Tricks, and this is another trick-taking game on our list. We've had a few, and in this, you're trying to like win tricks, but then at the end of the game, there's going to be winners for like the best production, best soundtrack, I think like best actor. So I'm intrigued by how it works, and it's published by Chili Fox Games, who just seem lovely.
My next one is also a card game, but not a trick-taking game. This is a 2-player card game that is called Legions, and it is based in the same world as Abyss, and I know Bruno Cathala and Johannes Gupi are both designers on, as well as a third person, but I don't know what you're doing with the cards, but I really like Abyss.
Yeah. My next one is Philharmonics, and I like the tagline of this because you're building a space opera and touring the galaxy. So I think that's an interesting theme. It looks really heavy. It's a worker placement game, and you are going around the galaxy collecting different people to perform in your space opera.
I love the name. I love Philharmonics as a name with the X. That's really clever. My next one is Oddland, and Oddland looks real. It's got these really cool, weird wooden animals. So you're checking out this island that has strange flora and fauna, and you're just kind of writing down about it, I think. You're like investigating and exploring. That's the word I'm looking for. You're exploring an island, and it's got these wonderful little wooden animals.
I did all of the ones on my list. Do you have any left on yours?
I have only one left, so we almost timed it perfect. That is Western Legends Stories. And this was a Kickstarter that came out a while ago. I don't think it's back yet, but this is going to be my first chance to take a look at it. Western Legends, one of my absolute favorite games. And this is Western Legends with kind of a
campaign?
with a campaign. I don't know for sure if you're like, if it's legacy, if you're destroying stuff, but obviously there are going to be stories in it because it's right in the title. But I guess now that we've gone through our list, what are your, let's pick two that we're really interested in. And then also I want to throw in a little curveball here, one underdog, one that's like people aren't going to be looking for, but it's going to really surprise them.
Okay, do you want to go first?
Sure, since I just sprung this on you, I guess that's fair. So my first one is Coming of Age. Coming of Age is slam dunk. I have not been this excited about a game for this long since like Lost Ruins came out. And I think for that whole year I was like, this is gonna be my favorite game. That's how I feel about Coming of Age. There's just something about it that really hooks me. And then my other one is Unmatched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I missed out on the two, like the big Turtles games that came out. Maybe there were 3 of them. And so I'm really keen to get a Turtles game. I wish Casey Jones was one of the playable characters. I hope he's in there somewhere. He's probably one of the, I didn't even think about that. He's almost definitely one of the assistants. Yeah. Casey Jones, April O'Neil's probably one. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm really excited about that.
I'm excited for both of those as well, especially Coming of Age. It looks great. But my pick would be Recall, because I really liked Revive. I'm really interested to see what Recall is. And Severton, because it looks so neat. And like I really like the theme. And so you also said to pick a dark horse too.
Yeah. What's your underdog? What's your like surprise hit?
My surprise hit is Incubo. Maybe other people are aware of it, but I wasn't, and I love the premise that you are a cat and a boy, like fighting nightmares to save your sister.
Yeah, it does look really cute. My surprise hit is the cutest one that I saw, and that is Otter. Otter, just, it looks so great. I love that you've got the 2 cards. They don't even look like they serve a purpose other than holding the middle card adorably. I'm really into that. So yeah, Otter's my surprise hit. And that is it. That's all of our thoughts for Essen. Well, it's not, we're gonna have a lot more thoughts, I'm sure, in the future. But that's 40 games for right now that immediately caught our eye. But again, there are 1,200 on that BGG list. There's other lists too. There's other games that I'm sure aren't even on those lists. So please check out all that stuff. If you're going to Essen, don't just listen to us. Definitely don't do that. I don't think anyone was going to anyway. I didn't need to warn you. But yeah, there's going to be so much there.
Yeah, and whatever you're excited about, please let us know, because we always love hearing what other people are interested in checking out. There is just so much to see. We're really excited. If you do spot us, please do say hi. And thank you so much for watching. As usual, please like, subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you next time for another game.